Big thing here is where the Thunder catch this. Shai gets it, spins away, baseline shot. Shai puts it in!
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander may be the best player in the NBA today, but no one in 2018 saw the coming of his insane rise from talented youngster to MVP. When you look at him now, he's an unstoppable scorer capable of getting to wherever he wants to be on the floor. He loves driving to the basket, where he's almost unguardable because he can hit tough layups or draw fouls at an elite level. But his ability to hit mid-range shots and even three-pointers are elite as well. The young man called SGA is basically a complete offensive player with no weaknesses at all. You play him hard and he uses his physicality to draw fouls. You sag off him and he shoots a jumper over you. You double him and he makes a crazy dime to his teammates. That's why there's no wonder why he's probably the league's most unstoppable scorer the past 3 seasons. And this wasn't even something people saw coming. Everyone knew he was good, but probably only a handful of people realized he could be a generational talent. But how did the 11th pick of the 2018 draft turn into arguably the best player of his class? It all starts with his patience.
Giddy has to get it in. Shai flashes, catches. Gordon on a little flyby, and Shai banks it home.
While most superstars break out as early as their high school and college years, he pretty much flew under the radar. He was only a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. That's not a bad rating, but future superstars usually get 5-star ratings. But it didn't matter, because he still made it to college, joining the Kentucky Wildcats, a program known for producing star guards in the NBA. While he averaged 14.4 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 5.1 assists with Kentucky during his freshman season, not a lot of scouts noticed him coming out of college. They knew he was good enough to be an early first-round pick, but not good enough to be a top 5 prospect. Instead, all eyes were on Luka Doncic and Trae Young. So, on the day of the draft, SGA got picked 11th overall by the rebuilding Los Angeles Clippers, who were still recovering after their Lob City days. The Clippers trusted the young man enough to turn him into a starter. After all, he had potential. He stands 6'6" and has long arms and legs. They thought he could be a great defender because of his physical gifts, but they weren't really too high on his offensive upside.
Did you see Shai contest that shot and get right back into play?
And drive and score and get fouled!
SGA was more of a defender, secondary playmaker, and opportunistic scorer as a rookie. But he still made the all-rookie team, even though his hype paled in comparison to the likes of Doncic and Young. Then came the most important turning point of his career. In 2019, Kawhi Leonard was a free agent coming off a historic Finals MVP performance. He wanted to go to the Clippers under one condition: they make a trade to acquire Paul George from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Of course, the Clippers wanted to keep SGA for their future, but the Thunder were only willing to let go of PG if LA would trade their rookie. So, the Clippers pulled the plug on what turned out to be one of the worst decisions they made in recent memory. Some fans would say that Kawhi wouldn't have gone to LA if they hadn't traded SGA for PG. Still, others say this was a big mistake. But at that point in time, the trade made sense because SGA wasn't even a budding star. After the trade, OKC built around SGA, even bringing in Chris Paul for a season, not to win a championship, but to serve as a mentor. At first, it doesn't make sense for CP3 to be a mentor to the young SGA because they have different styles. Paul has always been a pass-first point guard, much smaller than most of today's modern guards.
Whether it be the shooting, the driving, the dishing, tough step back shot, got fouled, and he knocks it down!
On the other hand, SGA was more of a scorer instead of a playmaker. But when you look at it, there are actually a lot of things in common between them, especially when it comes to their ability to get to where they need to be. CP3 made a career out of using his handles and change of pace to get to his sweet spot and hit mid-range jumpers. This was one of the things SGA learned under the tutelage of one of the best guards to ever do it. So, in just his second season in the league, he elevated his game and averaged 19 points as the young Thunder's first option. And the good part was that OKC was not rushing him into turning into a star because they had all the time in the world to wait for SGA to finally blossom. On top of that, the Thunder had a treasure trove of draft picks they were keeping to build around SGA through the draft. So, while they were waiting for their young star to develop, they were also steadily building a good team around him. 3 years after he got traded to the OKC Thunder, SGA turned into a 30-point scorer. He was already good the past 2 seasons because of his improved offense and outside shooting, but it was during the 2022-23 season that he found his stride and eventually transformed into an elite scorer.
Checked up by Matthews. Wants the step back three. On the way, and Shai knocks it down for the lead.
If you look at his physical attributes, he's built a lot like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant because he's also a long 6'6" athlete. This means he could use his height and length to his advantage as a perimeter scorer capable of pulling up from the mid-range area to hit jumpers over smaller defenders. But the difference is that he was never as athletic as they were. That was when Shai developed the other areas of his game to make up for his lack of elite athleticism. He perfected his ability to get to the paint, turning into one of the leaders in drives per game. But unlike some of the best paint attackers in league history, he doesn't blow past his defenders or jump over everyone. Instead, SGA mastered his handles and used his change of pace to get to the paint. When you look at him attacking the defense, he doesn't try to speed by his defender with one quick step. Instead, it takes a series of shifty handles and great footwork for him to get where he wants to be. And when he gets his defender off balanced, that's when he's at his most dangerous. It may be a polarizing part of his game, but SGA's ability to draw fouls is one of the reasons why he's so unstoppable. He relishes getting his defenders off their feet or making them commit mistakes that he could capitalize on to draw fouls.
Straight up here, they don't have to foul. Gilgeous-Alexander steps back and buries it.
Using his shifty handles, footwork, and pump fakes, he's currently the best at forcing referees to blow their whistles. And when you know how to put pressure on the referees to call something, you're gonna get a lot of fouls called in your favor. Gilgeous-Alexander mastered that part of the game, much like how James Harden did during his prime. But it's not just about driving to the basket and drawing fouls for SGA. He has also mastered the art of the mid-range game. This part of his game opens up because defenders are so afraid of his drives. By leading the league in drives per game, he makes defenders guess his next move. This opens up his mid-range game because defenders are likely going to take away his drive. So, when he dribbles his way to the basket, he has the option to either go straight to the paint or stop on a dime and pull up for a mid-range shot. And this part of his game has been automatic because you can only do so much against a player who knows how to get to his sweet spot. Around 45% of his field goal attempts come from within the perimeter and at least 3 feet away from the basket. During the 2023-24 season, it actually looked like he had already peaked as a scorer. But the scary part is that he took his game to another level by attempting more three-pointers and actually improving his outside shot. From 2022 to 2024, he attempted only 3.1 three-pointers per game. But during the 2024-25 season, he upped that number to 5.7 attempts while making a respectable clip of 37.5%. And he knows he can do this because defenders are trying to take away his drive and mid-range game.
As Shai stops on a dime, pulls up mid-range shot, and
The only way to keep his defenders guessing is by extending his range, which adds an entirely new dimension to his game. And that's why he reached a new career high of 32.7 points per game while leading the league in scoring. And his efficiency is insane because for a guy who takes a lot of jump shots, he averaged 51.9% from the field. But SGA's growth is not just about the work he put himself through to steadily turn into the league's most unstoppable scorer. The OKC Thunder's system also has a lot to do with his incredible scoring. OKC steadily built through the draft, adding pieces like Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren into the mix. They also built a roster that surrounded SGA with shooters and willing passers. Having capable teammates who could also get their own shots or stretch the floor with their shooting basically opens up a lot of opportunities for SGA. He has so much space to work with because defenses are afraid of Williams, Holmgren, and the outside snipers hitting their shots when multiple defenders are on the star guard. So when you have teammates and a system built to allow you to dominate, you're going to have a field day picking your spots. But let's not take anything away from him. The Thunder are good because of SGA, and SGA is good because of the Thunder. It's more like a symbiotic relationship between the two parties. He basically grew and developed alongside this organization and his teammates. Of course, the Thunder rewarded him by building a system designed to make him better while surrounding him with complementary players who make life easier for him. Still, at the end of the day, he would never have been this good if he didn't stay the course. SGA worked hard on his game and took his time getting to this elite level. And he was lucky enough that the Thunder were as patient with him as he was with his development as a superstar.